In the prophetic saying reported in the hadith collections, the messenger of God, Muhammad, declares, "Your smile in the face of your brother is charity." At first glance, the statement appears devotional and ethical, yet when examined through a civilizational lens, it reveals something deeper, an early articulation of what we might call an emotional economy, a system in which moral gestures function as investments that generate social stability, trust, and cohesion. The question, therefore, is not merely spiritual, it is structural. Is a smile a form of social investment? In Islamic jurisprudence and moral philosophy, adaka, charity, is not confined to financial transfer. The Prophet's teachings expanded it beyond wealth into acts that restore balance in human relations, kind speech, removing harm from the road, and reconciling between people. This widening of charity's definition transforms value itself. Value is no longer reducible to material surplus, it includes moral surplus. Classical scholars such as Al-Ghazali and Ihya Ulum al-Din emphasize that the heart is the true arena of civilization. External institutions merely reflect its condition. A smile, then, is not a trivial courtesy, it is a micro-act of civilizational maintenance. Where modern economics speaks of capital, financial, human, and social, the prophetic paradigm introduces a subtler category, emotional capital. Modern sociologists describe social capital as networks of trust that enable cooperation. Islamic civilization articulated a parallel insight centuries earlier. Trust, thika, and goodwill, mawada, are foundations of societal flourishing. A smile performs at least three structural functions. It signals safety by lowering psychological defense mechanisms. It affirms dignity by acknowledging the other's moral worth, and it catalyzes reciprocity by inviting relational continuity. Thus, what appears to be a fleeting facial expression becomes a trust-generating instrument. In highly fragmented societies, where suspicion erodes communal bonds, such micro-gestures become economically significant. They reduce friction costs in human interaction. They lubricate the machinery of cooperation. In other words, a smile reduces the hidden taxes of mistrust. Islamic civilization historically thrived not solely on trade routes or military organization, but on a moral infrastructure grounded in prophetic ethics. Markets in cities such as Baghdad and Cordoba were sustained as much by reputational trust as by coinage. The Prophet's expansion of charity into emotional gestures created a decentralized ethical system. Every individual became a contributor to collective wealth, not necessarily through gold, but through goodwill. This redefinition produces a remarkable democratization of influence. The wealthy can give from their surplus. The poor can give from their countenance. In this framework, emotional generosity is not symbolic, it is infrastructural. In highly fragmented societies, where suspicion erodes communal bonds, such micro-gestures become economically significant. They reduce friction costs in human interaction. They lubricate the machinery of cooperation. In other words, a smile reduces the hidden taxes of mistrust. Islamic civilization historically thrived not solely on trade routes or military organization, but on a moral infrastructure grounded in prophetic ethics. Markets in cities such as Baghdad and Cordoba were sustained as much by reputational trust as by coinage. The Prophet's expansion of charity into emotional gestures created a decentralized ethical system. Every individual became a contributor to collective wealth, not necessarily through gold, but through goodwill. This redefinition produces a remarkable democratization of influence. The wealthy can give from their surplus. The poor can give from their countenance. In this framework, emotional generosity is not symbolic, it is infrastructural. Civilizations decline not merely from economic mismanagement, but from emotional bankruptcy. When cynicism replaces kindness, transaction replaces trust, and indifference replaces fraternity, social systems begin to decay from within. The hadith on smiling functions as a preventative mechanism. It injects warmth into daily exchange and interrupts alienation. From a system's perspective, a smile strengthens micro-bonds. Micro-bonds reinforce communal trust. Communal trust lowers systemic entropy. This is not romanticism, it is moral engineering. Is the smile an investment? Investment implies three elements: cost, risk, and return. The cost is negligible physical effort. The risk is the vulnerability involved in initiating goodwill. The return is amplified relational capital. Unlike financial markets, the emotional economy described in prophetic ethics operates on a logic of abundance. Giving does not diminish the giver, it multiplies relational equity. Here lies the subtle brilliance of the hadith. It reframes everyday interaction as a marketplace of virtue, where the currency is compassion and the dividends are cohesion. For scholars examining civilizational sustainability, This prophetic principle offers a fertile conceptual framework. We may formulate the following thesis. A stable civilization requires not only institutional capital, but renewable emotional micro-capital generated through everyday moral gestures. This aligns with classical Islamic anthropology, which views human beings as trustees clofer responsible for maintaining harmony within the social order. The smile becomes a micro-act of stewardship. It is a low-threshold mechanism for redistributing dignity. Perhaps therein lies its enduring power. It embeds transcendence in the ordinary. Conclusion: the smile as civilizational infrastructure. To reduce the hadith to pious sentiment is to misunderstand its structural genius. The Prophet's teaching constructs a decentralized emotional economy, in which every believer is both investor and beneficiary. A smile is not merely politeness. It is a unit of moral currency, a gesture of redistributive dignity, a seed of civilizational resilience. In an age obsessed with financial growth yet plagued by social fragmentation, the prophetic model quietly proposes an alternative metric of wealth, not how much we accumulate, but how much trust we circulate. And perhaps, in that circulation, lies the true measure of prosperity.